Hey Hungry Cakes fam, it's Becky of Hungry Cakes. I want to share with you how I made a 3-course dinner for this year's Valentine's Day. Besides the gift card, this was my other gift to Hubby Cakes because love is homemade food and food is love. Let's start with dessert. Now the original recipe calls for an angel food cake, but here I'm using store-bought vanilla cake mix. What I did is I baked it and then I let it cool, and now I'm just taking some and loosely crumble it with a spoon or my hand. I have 2 handfuls of ripe strawberries that I'm going to roughly chop into small pieces. Save 1 strawberry and chop it in half. Now this will go on top of our trifle cups later. Add a little bit of sugar, mix, and set aside in the fridge. Let's make fresh whipped cream. Add heavy cream and powdered sugar into a bowl and whip on high speed until stiff peaks form. You can use store-bought whipped topping, but why would you? Making your own tastes so much better and it's pretty darn easy. Now it's time to layer our ingredients. Start with our loosely crumbled cake sponge on the bottom as our first layer. Top it with our chopped strawberries as our second layer. Then top it with our homemade whipped cream as our third layer, and just repeat the process until you reach the top. I also added a dollop of hazelnut spread, just because why not? And then finally a strawberry on top to finish it off. Gosh, it looks so pretty, huh? Now put it in the fridge so it can stay cold until it's time to eat dessert. Let's move on to the appetizer, bruschetta a la Hungry Cakes. Start by chopping 2 ripe tomatoes. Here I'm using Roma tomatoes, but of course you can use cherry tomatoes or heirloom tomatoes, any kind of tomatoes as long as they're ripe. Stack some basil leaves and roll them lightly, then slice them perpendicular to the roll. Now this slicing method is actually called chiffonade. It's just a fancy word for slicing thin ribbons. Drizzle with a little bit of olive oil, a splash or 2 of balsamic vinegar, a dash of salt, and mix until everything's combined. Now set aside and let the tomatoes marinate as we prep our bread. The original recipe uses crostini for the bread, but here I'm using Hawaiian bread rolls. It's soft, a little sweet, and it's good. You guys gotta try it. I toasted them in the broiler for a few minutes and they should look golden brown on top, and then spoon over the tomato and basil mixture on top, and that is it. We're done. Finally, our main course. Let's make mashed potatoes. Here I have 3 large Idaho potatoes that's been peeled and washed. Slice them in quarters so they can cook faster. Cook the potatoes in boiling water for about 12 to 15 minutes until tender. I usually like chunky mashed potatoes, but for this dish I'm going for a very smooth and creamy texture, so I'm using a hand mixer. It's also faster. I'm also going to add warm heavy cream with melted butter and a generous amount of salt and pepper. Now potatoes are very bland, so make sure you add enough fat and seasonings. This is a Chilean sea bass. Now this fish was expensive, guys, I'm not gonna lie, but I chose this fish because I've had it once before a long time ago at a fancy restaurant, and it was so flaky and delicious, and you know, it's a special occasion, so I splurged. I'm gonna keep it simple and season it with salt, pepper, and olive oil, and I'm gonna gently massage it on all sides. Lightly coat a nonstick pan with cooking oil on medium heat and cook the skin side down first for about 3 to 5 minutes depending on the thickness of the fish. turn it over and cook it for about the same time, 3 to 5 minutes, but I'm going to turn the heat down to low. I'm also going to cook the sides for about 2 minutes each because I want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. Not overcooked, but cooked. You know what I mean? Let it rest for a few minutes. While we're waiting, let's cook our spinach. I'm going to coat a nonstick pan with cooking oil and saute sliced onions until fragrant for about a minute or so. And then I'm going to add a whole 8-ounce bag of spinach. Now, it looks like a lot in the beginning, but it's going to cook down to very little. Set aside in a bowl, and let's move on to our garlic and lemon sauce. Coat a nonstick pan with a little bit of oil and add minced garlic. I used about 2 cloves and saute on low heat for a few minutes. Don't burn it, guys. Add a tablespoon of butter. Wait for it to melt. And then add half a teaspoon of flour. Mix or whisk it until it bubbles. And then add half and half, which means half milk and half heavy cream. Mix it until it thickens. Then season with a little salt, pepper, and then add lemon juice. I'm using half of a lemon and chopped parsley. You should have a slightly thick and smooth consistency. Finally, it's time to plate. So mashed potatoes on the bottom first, and then add sauteed spinach on top. Then carefully add our pan-seared sea bass on top, and then spoon over our luscious garlic and lemon sauce. Honestly, guys, my mouth is watery while I'm editing this video. Oh my goodness, I am so proud of myself.
That's good, huh? It's a sea bass. Like my cream sauce.